Michael Bisping believes the UFC should start considering stripping Jon Jones of his title, or at least issue him a warning. In a recent episode of their podcast, Bisping and Paul Felder shared their thoughts on the stalled negotiations between Jon Jones and the UFC. Felder expressed frustration that while July, when the fight is rumored to take place during International Fight Week, may seem far off, it's actually only a few months away, considering fighters need a solid 2 months of fight camp for such a major event. He stressed that the UFC needs to start locking things in soon, especially since Aspinall is ready to go and just waiting on Jones to commit. Bisping made it clear if this were any other sport like boxing, a champion who refuses to fight the mandatory challenger or interim title holder would likely face being stripped of their title. With negotiations dragging on since November, the fans and sports enthusiasts are impatiently waiting for this super fight to finalize. Is Aspinall the one to stop Jones? This question needs to be answered, and Bisping suggests that the UFC may need to take a stronger stance. He proposed that the UFC could give Jones a deadline, perhaps by April, to commit to the fight. If Jones doesn't step up, the UFC might have no choice but to take action and strip Jones of the title.
If it's July, it's a little further than I thought, but even still, I mean, we're in March. It's not that long away. You got to hope that they can start really getting those negotiations going, because it's only one-sided. Tom's just waiting. He's ready to go. It's really about just getting Jon to commit to doing this damn thing, man. It's going to be huge. But you know what? Again, maybe he is always been willing to take it and just once the stakes really high. I don't know. But
at what point do you start conversations about stripping? Because in any other sport, certainly in boxing, if the champion will not fight the next mandatory challenger or won't fight the interim champion in the same weight class, then they will strip them. It's time for it to start happening, and it doesn't sound like it is, because Tom Aspinall's sitting on trains trying to do everything he can to make the fight happen. So at some point, they might have to say, look, listen, Jon, we're going to give you a deadline. We're going to give you a deadline. You've got until the end of April. And if you will not accept this fight, then what do you want us to do?
Big John McCarthy and Josh Thomson break down this weekend's Leon Edwards versus Sean Brady fight, focusing on Leon's strategy. They emphasize that Leon needs to be the one moving forward, not allowing Sean Brady to push him back. When Edwards is the aggressor, hunting his opponent down, he's highly effective. If he's pushed back, he tends to wait, which limits his offense. Edwards is coming off a one-sided loss to the current champ Belal Muhammad, a fight that shocked many MMA fans. Despite being a big favorite and performing in his home country, Leon failed to capitalize on his game plan and defend his belt successfully. Rocky later blamed the loss on the timing of the walkouts, which took place around 5 a.m. local time, impacting his focus and energy. This time, Edwards is facing off against a very technical Sean Brady, who has strong striking and wrestling credentials, however lacks in stamina. For Leon to succeed, he needs to control the pace and keep Brady at a distance, utilizing his reach advantage. While Brady is a strong fighter with good technique, Leon is the better striker with faster, more accurate combinations. He also has good power when he decides to throw with intent, but his key to winning is maintaining offensive pressure and not letting Brady force him to the cage.
First thing Leon has to do is Leon has to get off. What I mean by that is he needs to be moving forward. When Leon is moving forward and hunting his opponent down, he is really effective. It's when he's being pushed back that he waits. And so first thing off, I need you stepping forward. You know, if that means that you both match up and you both, stay in the middle and you're just, laterally circling out to reset and then go again, great. But do not allow Sean Brady to push you back.
Doesn't matter. To me, I don't believe if he wins this fight, if he doesn't win in an impressive fashion, like he has a tendency to sometimes just let the fight develop in front of him and just like tap like a sparring session. Sure. The UFC is getting killed by that. It drives them nuts.
You're a longer fighter than Sean Brady. He's a stockier guy. He's got good technique, the better jab, and the better stand-up technique, and the smoother transitions in that stand-up. You got to give it to Leon Edwards.
Magomed Ankalaev recently shared an interesting story about his experience with USADA. During an appearance on Aslanbek Badaev's YouTube channel, he revealed that the company has been testing him much more frequently than before. At one point, they showed up at his door late at night, only to return again the following morning for another random test. Despite the frequent testing, the champion stressed that he has never used steroids. However, he did admit to using a banned substance at one point, but only for medical reasons. He explained that this led to some complications with UFC officials, though he cleared everything up by providing a doctor's note to show that it was for legitimate medical purposes. Once the documentation was reviewed, the situation was resolved without any further problems. You really need a doctor's prescription for anything you take, no matter how minor it seems. It can get pretty tricky and you don't want to risk it. I've had to take medications with banned substances for health reasons before, and when the UFC officials flagged it, my team was able to show them the receipt, and that cleared everything up. Lately though, they've been testing me a lot more often than they used to. One time, they even showed up late at night and came back again the next morning. It's been a bit more intense lately. Ankalaev, who is coming off a dominant victory over Alex Pereira, is likely to face Pereira again in a rematch, but Jan Blachowicz may have something to say about those plans. The Polish fighter recently spoke with UFC News ahead of his fight this weekend and shared his excitement about being back in the spotlight after nearly 2 years. Reflecting on his return, he mentioned the pressure of the situation, but also how he's learned to turn that pressure into positive energy. He stated that he has unfinished business with Ankalaev, and after his upcoming fight with Carlos Oldberg, he's focused on taking the next step toward a rematch with the champion. So while Ankalaev and Pereira are likely to meet again, Jan could very well spoil Pereira's plans by delivering an impressive performance this weekend. Yoel Romero offers some advice to Israel Adesanya, who has struggled since 2022, with only 1 win and 4 defeats in his last 5 bouts. Romero emphasized that Adesanya needs time to rest and recover from the damage he's taken. He explained that although fighters like Izzy need time to heal, the UFC doesn't always provide that luxury. When the UFC calls, fighters are expected to answer due to contractual obligations. Romero advised Izzy to adjust his training to focus on recovery rather than pushing hard in sparring. He suggested that he should treat his training more like therapy, helping his body recover, and not prioritize sparring. Yoel believes that if Izzy wants to come back strong, he needs to let his body heal rather than continuing to train so intensely. Adesanya successfully defended his middleweight title against Romero at UFC 248 in early 2020. The much anticipated fight, however, ended up being a lackluster matchup that stretched over 5 rounds. What do you think the future holds for Israel Adesanya after his recent losses? Can he bounce back to the top, or is this the end of his legendary career as one of the greatest middleweights of all time? Leave your comments below. That's it from MMA Psycho. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for daily MMA news.